If you have an active VA claim or appeal, then you need to understand the concept of back pay. So what is back pay? Generally, back pay involves a retroactive compensation owed to a veteran for the time between when the veteran filed their claim for a particular condition and when that claim was granted. Now, this sounds straightforward, but there are many permutations of this that make it a bit more complex. And so, Dallas, can you begin walking us through 5 things that veterans may not realize are involved with calculating back pay and what goes into that?
Yes. So as we're coming into the new year, this is most relevant. I think we can talk about the cost of living adjustments. These typically roll out in December before a new year. When you receive some back pay, it's important to note that VA is not going to pay you the rate right now for all these years.
Right.
So as an example, if your claim dates back to 2018, VA will pay you the 2018 rate for that year, the 2019 rate for that year, and so on until the date of your decision. And if you're curious about how this is going to flesh out when you receive a retroactive award, you can go on to va.gov and use their VA rate tables or have a look at online calculators to estimate what you might be owed, which we do have one on our website.
We do, and it is quite helpful if I could say so.
Yes.
But there are many out there, and CCKs is a free tool available to veterans and others who would like to log in, input their effective date, the rating, and there are a few other fields.
Dependents, I think, too.
Exactly,
Yep.
dependents, and how that calculates into what the back pay is. And all of these things then are calculated, and it spits out an estimate as to what the veteran's back pay will be. It's a really great free tool for veterans to check out.
Yeah. And another important thing to mention is what's your effective date?
Yeah, critical, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
That's where it all begins. So a major factor in back pay is your effective date. And an overlooked way to ensure a favorable effective date is by submitting an intent to file. And this is a super easy step you can take. And you can do this before you're ready to file a claim, because all this is a formal notice to VA that you have a claim you want to file. And that's pretty much all you have to say. You don't have to identify what the claim is. You don't have to submit any evidence. All you have to do is send in the form, which was a 21-0966 for reference, and just make sure that you submit the claim, complete claim, within a year of the intent to file. And if you need to include evidence, try to send that in too. But the intent to file is just a good trick that we can use to get an earlier effective date. But again, we need to make sure we hit that 1-year window, because otherwise the intent to file will expire.
Exactly, that 1-year window from the date of filing the intent to file to filing the actual claim, right? So, and the intent to file, I agree, it's a huge opportunity for veterans to preserve the date, the effective date, even if they don't necessarily know exactly, or if they're not prepared yet to file a claim for a specific condition. Like you said, it locks in that date for them for the entire next year to be able to file the actual claim. Now, what happens if a veteran files a claim, it's denied, but then the veteran appeals? Well, this brings us to a concept called continuous pursuit. Now, this is a term of art, so to speak, in the VA world, but really what this just means is that a veteran has, again, been able to successfully and timely appeal a denial of their claim. And this is critically important because what that does in the veteran's case is that it ensures that the original effective date, which is the date, as you said, they either filed the intent to file or then filed the actual claim for the condition, is locked in as the date of the claim or the appeal for when the veteran then perhaps has to appeal their case, unfortunately, several times over the course of several years. When that claim is eventually granted, a veteran's back pay will go back to the date that they initially filed that intent to file or claim, generally speaking. So continuous pursuit is this concept that's important for understanding how much back pay there is, because it allows for veterans' claims to continue on in continuous pursuit of the ultimate goal, which is a grant in the case.
Yeah. And the nuances of continuous pursuit can get a bit complicated. It's not as always so cut and dry as claim, rating, decision, appeal. So I think it would be good to consult an accredited representative if, especially if you're not sure. I mean.
Yep. It wouldn't be the first time that we saw a veteran appropriately appeal their case or submit a claim timely within the time that they have to submit a claim after the intent to file, but VA reject it nevertheless, saying, no, the chain has been broken. There isn't continuous pursuit, and therefore, sure, maybe we'll grant your claim, but you're going to miss out on 5 years as an example of retroactive pay. So we here try to make sure that never happens, and we can ensure that through various techniques and arguments, we catch those things and raise them to VA to get them corrected as soon as we can. Yeah.
And sometimes when you have a long history and you've been continuously pursuing a claim for a while, you might see in your award that you're going to get staged ratings or different ratings throughout the appeal period. An example of this might be if you filed a claim for PTSD and it's rated at 30% from 2018 to 2020. And then in 2020, you have a higher rating, say 70%. So when VA calculates this back pay, they are limiting it to the rate for whatever applicable period we're in. So for 2018 to 2020, the back pay corresponds with the 30% rate. 2020 to present, it corresponds with the 70% rate. The stage ratings can make back pay calculations kind of complicated, but and especially with the cost of living adjustments that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, there are so many factors that go into this. Yeah.
So I think what I would say is it's super important to read that decision letter carefully and pay attention to some key details, which are the effective date and the rating timeline, to make sure that you got the correct back pay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess in closing, back pay can be for veterans a very large chunk of money that's awarded all at the same time. That's the good news. The bad news, or at least the cautionary news, is that don't necessarily accept what VA grants you or issues you just because it's a large amount. It may be large, but insufficient or inaccurate. And we've seen that numerous times. So it's important to, again, consult an accredited representative, take a look at the decision, use the resources, the free resources that are available to you, such as VA disability calculators, the one that we have on our own website as an example, and be sure that the lump sum retroactive pay that's awarded is in fact correct. Keep in mind concepts like effective date. Keep in mind concepts like the rating, stage ratings, cost of living adjustments over time. All these things factor into what might be the accurate amount of retroactive pay that is awarded. Continuous pursuit is another one, as we talked about, that allows for that chain from claim to final grant to be connected over the course of several years, perhaps, that allows for a larger back pay. So all these things combined are important factors that one would want to consider when they're thinking about back pay and whether it's accurate.
Right.